Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of the Couples Sutra podcast. We're really excited about this week just because it's another week into our adventure of doing our podcast.
To start things off, we can talk about our sex position of the week, which was the caboose.
Yeah.
I think it went really well. We did it in the shower.
Yep, and it was one we were actually able to do, so it was
Just
exciting.
Sat in between his legs, and it worked out very nicely.
Yeah, it was one you can actually do in the shower, too.
Yeah. I mean, you need a wider, if it's a shower tub, I don't really think that's going to work because the guy's legs you need to be able to sit in between their legs, kind of. So, I mean, we have a shower and then we have a shower tub, and I know we've tried a position like that in the tub shower before, and
not enough room.
It's not enough room. You're really squeezing in there. I mean, if you're two very tiny stick leg people, maybe you're fine. Or just have a really wide tub, but we don't have either of those things.
So the wider square shower worked well.
Yes. I really liked that position. I'm glad we gave ourselves an easier one. And then next, how our week went. We had a couple things going on this week. One of the things is we had a wedding. And I just love going to weddings with Jeff because he's my forever wedding date. And I just remember all the weddings I've been to where just always been the single girl, and I just love it so much having you there with me. I don't know. It's just so much nicer to have a date at a wedding.
Yeah, well, it depends on who your date is, too. Because I used to go to weddings, and I had a wedding date that was never fun. And I was part of the problem, too. There's always two sides to the story. I didn't really like dancing, and I think you have to find the person you want to dance with.
Yeah.
I did.
You dance with me, and it makes me really happy. So
yeah.
It was actually our first time since we've been married that we've gotten to slow dance together at a wedding.
Yeah.
Because the last wedding we went to this year, we left before they had a slow dance because it was a long day.
Oh, yeah, that was.
Yeah. So that was really nice. Another thing we're doing is we've been looking at houses for fun. We have a possible job change happening, and if that does happen, we are going to have to move sooner than we've anticipated.
Yep.
Because it was originally supposed to be at least 5 years down the road.
But now it's looking at it could be tomorrow.
And it's just awesome to see. They took it off of Hulu, which was very upset. But we became those people who watched House Hunters, and it was always fun to watch it together because we're always on the same page of what we want. So even looking at houses now, we're kind of aiming towards just land at this point and building eventually. But we're on the same page, and it's a lot easier if you guys have the same likes. Just because we've watched House Hunters, and we're like, how does your marriage survive? I mean, maybe they tell them to say some of those things because...
Yeah, I really want them to have a House Hunters 5 years later or 10 years later.
Yeah.
Because you can see the couples where you're like, they're definitely divorced or they're not together anymore.
That's not going to happen, but...
Because you'd have one person wanting, I want beachfront and I want a small house, and the other person wants a mansion in the city.
Yeah. My budget's $300,000. I'm thinking $550,000. Yeah, that's not going to work. I don't know how they compromise on those.
Yeah, and before we go further, just a reminder, if you are listening on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We were super excited when we saw we had 2 subscribers, and if we get 3, I think we'll be to the moon.
That's all it takes, guys.
To the moon, I think. Is that how you'd say that? Through the roof. I don't know. We'd be ecstatic.
I don't know. Don't look at me. I'm the one who's terrible with phrases. Oh, the last thing I want to talk about, though, with our week, before we go to our new segment that we're going to add, is one other thing relationship-wise with us this week. It's something we've been slowly learning, but I stood in the wedding this week, and I had to go to the rehearsal, and Jeff particularly didn't want to have to go, and he really didn't have to, but they said the spouses can come if they want, because then there's the dinner after and yard games, and I was having a bad day, and he said he was going to come, and then he said he didn't want to, and I got really upset, and he ended up coming, and I felt bad but happy at the same time, and we're slowly learning that we need to just suck it up is not the right... Well, it's kind of the right term.
It's like I said,
just join each other. Yeah. Even if you don't like the other's activity, you know it makes them happy. Mm-hmm. And I know it happens to both of us. I feel like I've tried to drag you along to more things than vice versa, but...
And I go to...
And you do.
Every single one, I think. And I just... every once in a while, I have to say no and act like I'm not going for a little bit.
It's just sometimes you say yes right away and then change your mind last minute. That's when it gets me. Because the day comes and you're like, I don't want to go anymore. I'm like, but you said you would.
And then I do anyway, so I need to just not say anything and stay positive with it.
Or just don't say yes right away and like, let me think about it. But yeah, I mean, we're getting better at that. So the next thing we're going to talk about, we're actually going to add advice of the week. And just, I went on, it was called markmanson.net. And Jeff doesn't know this discussion yet. I just looked something up today to kind of go over. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look into the website too much, but I just clicked on it. It had a whole bunch of things on there, and I liked it. So this week it said, be together for the right reasons. So there's like a lot of people out there who are just always...
It's for the money, right?
Yeah, some people do it for the money. Some people, they don't think they can get better. So that's how a lot of people end up in abusive relationships. There's a quote on here that says, it says a quote from Greg. So this is from Greg. It says, don't ever be with someone because someone else pressured you to. I got married the first time because I was raised Catholic and that's what you were supposed to do. Wrong. I got married the second time because I was miserable and lonely and thought having a loving wife would fix everything for me. Also wrong. It took me 3 tries to figure out what should have been obvious from the beginning. The only reason you should ever be with the person you're with is because you simply love being around them. It really is that simple. And they just listed some of the wrong reasons, include pressure from friends and family, feeling like a loser because they were single and settling for the first person that came along, being together for an image because the relationship looked good on paper, and they said or in photos. Being young and naive and hopelessly in love and thinking that love would solve everything. This isn't on here, but we're having a baby, so we have to get married. But because you see that,
you see that
that a lot. So I just think there's a lot more on here. If you go out to markmanson.net, and it's actually it says /relationship-advice. But there's just a lot of things on there where you really need to, if you think you're settling, you need to get out of that relationship. You don't settle on love. There's someone out there for everybody. So I thought that was a really good first advice to start with on our podcast was, be together for the right reasons. Don't.
Yeah, and going off of that too, like I did that at one point. I did settle, and I was never truly happy. As like I said, I had the wrong wedding date, and yeah, I was never. And it affects the rest of your life too. Like, if you're not happy with yourself, though, you shouldn't. No relationship is going to make you happy.
Yeah.
So, like, you need to, be happy with yourself and not expect somebody else to make you happy. So, then I'm just glad that I found you. And
me too.
I don't know, just really happy with myself and us.
Someone told me once, and I don't 100% agree with it. They're like, because they said you need to be 100% happy with yourself by yourself before you should give yourself to others. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like everyone belongs with somebody. So I understood like maybe 90% happy with yourself and being by yourself. I'm not going to be 100% happy by myself because I'm looking for that hole to fill it's not
that
really
hole.
That hole.
I know what you mean.
It's not really, and I'm not saying the other person's only 10% of it, but I got to that point where right before I found Jeff, I was actually finally happy. I was okay being single. I mean, I still was looking for my forever, but I finally have accepted it. I wasn't that miserable single person. And then Jeff and I met off of Bumble and have barely spent any time apart since. So it is important to be happy with yourself first. And then just as soon as you reach that, I mean, that's exactly when I met you. Yeah,
I was not happy just on my own for a while. And then that's why I got into another bad relationship. Mm-hmm. And then after that ended, I was doing like hanging out. Like I did not want to be alone with my thoughts. One of those deals. I always had to be hanging out with friends and stuff or my family. But then I was going to go hang out, I think with one of my guy friends. He was going to go out to a bar or something. And I was all changed and ready to go. And then I was like, I want to stay home. And like, I just want to hang out on my own. And then I started doing that more. And then got happier and happier. Like I found out what made me happy, who I am, and yeah. And then, like, I met you. So then I was even
the rest
happier.
is history.
Yeah.
Okay, now we'll head into our date idea, which is also a gift idea. This week we are talking about the Adventure Challenge book. So we actually have one of these. We're not sponsored by them or anything, but just so you know, if you look up the Adventure Challenge book, they have them for couples, they have family books, and they have friend books. You can bundle them if you want. So the couple one is $40 for just the book. Otherwise, you can get a book and a camera. So they all have a spot where you can put a picture after you do the date, and it's a mini Polaroid. So you can buy that camera with the book for $148. We luckily already had the Polaroid camera. So, and they're on sale right now. So $40 is it on sale. And it is just so much fun. You scratch off your date. So it tells you on the side, there's little symbols telling you. So if you have kids too, it even has, if you need a babysitter, what the price range of it is, what time of day you need to go, like groceries, how long it takes. It's awesome. So because when you scratch it, they want you have to do it. So they want to make sure you're capable of doing it before you scratch it off without knowing what it was. So
we've only done a couple, but they've been fun. Like they're just so different too. Like some of them are very simple. Like go buy 2 books and then you have to read them to each other and then donate them. But we ended up giving them to our niece.
Yeah, our niece and nephew both got it. We made sure the books we chose to read to each other, you're supposed to read them at the store. And yeah, we ended up gifting them to our niece and nephew. So we made sure they were age appropriate. Mm-hmm. And I mean, they were supposed to, I feel like it was supposed to be your favorite childhood book. Now, depending on where you live, some of these you have to kind of compromise with what you're reading. So we went to a Dollar General and just found a book that looked cute.
There's like a Frozen book. That was not my favorite book as a kid.
That didn't exist as a kid. We're 29 and 31. So the Frozen did not exist as a kid. Another one we actually talked about our hiking date. That was actually from the adventure book. You had to hike. You had to go for a walk. You didn't have to go out into the woods. We just ended up driving to a place we liked to hike. And you had to hold hands. You weren't allowed to disconnect. And you couldn't talk for 5 minutes. So you were just enjoying each other's company and the silence and the nature around you. And I loved it. We haven't done much more from it. We're trying to get better from it. And hopefully we'll share actually some of those date ideas as we go through the book. I think we're trying to set a goal. Try to do one once a month.
Yeah.
There's a lot in there, and it's really cool too. Is even though they have a book for people, they have a book for couples and they have a book for friends. In our couples book, they have dates. They have different sections, and one of the sections was dates with friends. So It's a double date thing. So I would love for that to be the next one we try.
That sounds like our swinger friends should do that one, the dates with friends.
Yeah, they should. Bill and Abby, if you're listening, you guys can be our next. We'll scratch off with you next. Okay. Anything else you want to add on the date idea? And it's a great gift, like I said, gift idea too for us. You can buy them in bundles, so you could buy one for yourself and one for another couple. Otherwise, like I said, there's also the family ones in the friends books by themselves. Head into sex stories. I'll go. You said you only had one for today?
One's a story, the other one's a observation.
Would you like to go first?
No, you go first.
All right. I got both of mine from Women's Health Magazine. Yeah, my first one was from Alexandra. She said, "It was prom night, and my boyfriend and I were heading back to my house so he could drop me off. We hooked up in the car in front of an abandoned house in my neighborhood and put our fancy clothes back on. When we walked in the door, my dad was sitting on the couch waiting for us to come home. After recapping the night, he noticed a few white stains on my boyfriend's pants."
Toothpaste?
Yeah. He asked what it was, and I quickly said ice cream. I was sweating through my dress as my dad stared my date down before finally saying, "Well, must have been good." Woo! So she got out of that. I'm like, I don't know. I'm really curious. Does the dad really believe that was ice cream?
I feel like my face would give me away.
Oh my gosh. With that being said, talking about that, I started to think about the aquarium thing. I feel like we told you guys to go watch this, but if we haven't, go watch. It's from College Humor. Thanksgiving stuffing.
Or holiday stuffing.
Oh, holiday stuffing, yes. College Humor, holiday stuffing. It's hilarious. Please go watch. So that's just what he's... In my mind, I'm like, oh, it smells like an aquarium, but there's no way this dad has to know what happened.
That reminds me, too, when we went out to eat, and a guy came and sat
I told my mom the story today.
Ooh, yeah, he sat really close to us. Even not super close, like 10 feet away.
Not even the bar to the pub
Maybe
table.
5 feet?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're at a restaurant, and we had moved, too, so we could sit in a spot that was warmer. Mm-hmm. This guy came in, sat pretty close to us, and just smelled like to keep it more appropriate, we'll say he just finished on himself and then went, oh boy, time to go get food.
Oh my gosh, he just reeked of it. And every time a server would walk by, it would waft at our table. Anytime the door would open, it would waft it. Honestly, I feel like we could smell it the whole time.
Yeah.
Like straight up. That's exactly what he smelled like.
It's a very distinctive smell.
Yeah.
And that's what it smelled like. I don't know if he was bored on his way to the restaurant and
oh my gosh, it was the weirdest thing. And
saw a curvy stop sign.
Like a curvy stop sign. Yeah, he saw something he fancied on the way there and finished. Gross.
Yeah.
Was that your observation?
No.
Oh, okay.
But you're still reminding me of it. I'll do my story, then my observation. Okay, so this is from the website P.S. I Love You. I just want to find a random one. And it is by the girl that wrote it. Mine's also a woman that wrote it. Her name is Kristen. And she had a couple little stories on here. But she claims her best story. It says, the time that guy went to put on the condom and didn't get it on in time. We were still in the bed, so we kept kissing and fooling around. Next thing I know, he had grabbed the condom, jumped on top of me, and was humping away madly like a rabid chihuahua. It didn't last long, but the whole time I was dying laughing inside. I felt like I was on America's Funniest Home Videos. In fact, I remember looking up at the ceiling and saying to myself, is this really happening? I don't think he even noticed that I was not participating in his adventure. After he finished and rolled off of me, I turned to him and said, okay, so what about me? Wanting to make sure that he was well aware that the 30 seconds to a minute of him getting busy did nothing for me. He just laid there, recovering from his exertion. After mulling it over, he said, it's just better if you have your orgasm before I have mine. When would that have been, I wondered. He seemed very shocked when I grabbed my clothes and walked out. I wasn't taking my chances. Who knows if he would have recovered and jumped back on top of me again. One time was enough.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I liked how she just wrote it too. Like the 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah. I like how she's laughing. Like, this is...
Yeah. It wasn't that funny. It was just more of a really disappointing
That is very
story.
disappointing. And rude. He's like, you should come first. Well, maybe you should have taken care of me first, and that's how that would have happened, but just started humping me like the chihuahua. Okay, that just sounded like the chihuahua.
Humping me like the chihuahua.
Well, she said say chihuahua, right?
Yeah. Also, we have some birds outside the window.
Is that what that is?
Or red squirrel, something. Just yelling up a storm.
As long as it's not a mouse in the house again. That was another adventure we had about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and our cats did a terrible job of catching it.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me. I know we're in the middle of stories, and this should have been about how our week went, but I'm adding this right now because we can. Jeff surprised me, and this was a couple weeks ago, and I keep forgetting to mention it to everybody, that you surprised me a couple weeks ago. He's wondering what I'm talking about right now. Put his phone in a box, and he surprised me for Christmas, birthday. My birthday's in December as well. So, to a FabFitFun subscription box.
Because you had dropped hints for
I've dropped
months.
many hints, being like, you should surprise me with this. But the thing is, he can't pick my customized, like, he can't tell them what I want because it gets very customizable. And so he had the subscription or he paid for it and had the part where you have to customize it popped up. And it was he wanted to get it to me early so I could get a fall box and, because it was the annual subscription. So I just want to share that. That's also gift idea of the week. We'll have 2 of them. It's a good gift. I absolutely love them because you get to pick what's in your box. I just wanted to add that. I don't know why I just
Pick
thought
what's in your box. Ooh, that could be a sex toy slogan. Pick what's in your box.
Guys, that's the next thing we would love to buy is a sex subscription box. If we could get If we could get sponsored by one of those, oh my god, that'd be so fun. I would give reviews on those things. That would be so cool.
Ooh, I wonder if you can review those, like have a review channel of just sex toys. Because they review everything else.
Yeah, we could do that. If we get a Patreon, we could do that too. Could be show the sex toy on there. Okay, I'll move on to my next story. I just really wanted to share that because I thought it was sweet. All right, my next one is also from Women's Health Magazine, and this one's from Jennifer. And she says, back in college when I lived in the dorms and my boyfriend lived in a house with several roommates, we struggled to find a place to have sex alone. Naturally, that led us to laying out a bunch of blankets on the roof of his garage and having sex up there under the stars. That sounds fun, and I kind of want to try that. Is our roof? Well, maybe not the roof, the rest of the house, because the roof shingles need replacing.
No, that's just the garage shingles.
I mean, what did I say? Did I say the roof shingles?
Well, that's where the shingles are, but yeah, the house shingles are new.
The house shingles are new. The garage shingles, I just said that weird. Anywho, I just wanted to add that to our list of places to have sex. All right. So under the stars, it was the middle of the night, and we figured no one would be walking by in our small town, so it weirdly satisfied our public sex kink while also being more private than our bedrooms.
Sounds like you.
But of course, one of his roommates stumbled home very intoxicated while we were up there, startling us as he walked by the garage. We froze, and he looked around, clearly having heard something, but confused as to where it was coming from. He shrugged and proceeded to take a pee on the side of the garage while we perched naked above him. He then went inside, and we got on with our night. The next day, he informed us that he thought raccoons or some other animals were living in the roof of the garage, and we victoriously informed him that we were the animals. I like that they admit. I feel like I would admit it the next day too, because it's not like he saw them, so he didn't see anything. But it'd just be like, yeah, you were drunk. It was us the whole time. We got away with it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I want to add that to our list. We have a nice, like, that roof isn't too pitched, so we shouldn't fall off.
Shouldn't. All right, so here's my observation. And it's based off of everybody's favorite thing to talk about, their parents doing it. So I noticed I have this habit of, and I think I've told you this before, anytime I go to my parents' house, when I open the door, I loudly go, hello, no matter what. And I started doing it when I came home. I was home from college working in the summer. And I think my brother and I, we both got to be traumatized at the same time. And all of a sudden, like, we come home, didn't say anything. And luckily, my mom is wearing a robe, but she, like, poked her head out the bathroom door and then ran to their bedroom. And then my dad came out, and he quickly put on some, like, he had a towel. And I'm like, why you guys should have just stayed in the bathroom
at that point.
But because of that, never ever wanting to catch my parents, I announce my presence all the time. I walk in and go, hello.
That's funny. That's smart.
Yeah, they're both in their let's see, turning 60 or just turned 60. My dad's in his 60s, so they're still in their 60s, but I feel like I still have to do that.
Yeah, I would say so. I know we shared that story about my dad walking in on us. He did the hello, but it needs to be a little louder.
I think he needs
to knock first. He might have. We obviously were on the other side of the house, but that is a good thing to do. We should do that at my parents' probably.
Yeah.
We just kind of walk, like, I don't know. It's just so, I just walk in anytime.
Well, the dogs announce our presence too.
Luckily, our dogs pretty much announce if someone's here. Not even by barking, they just kind of get excited. Yeah. Unless they don't know them, then they bark. Except for when just side note, we had a delivery the other day, and usually they bark when someone comes up to the door, and the girl was dropping off that pastry you ordered. That sounds dirty. I don't know. That's not.
Like just sit at home eating.
You guys, that's not a code for anything. It was some type of pastry.
It was a fundraiser.
A fundraiser for a sport. One of those things where they just come up to your door and you can't say no. And so Jeff couldn't say no. And yeah, she knocked and the dogs were just wagging their tail at the door. I'm like, wow, I can't believe you guys didn't bark because it was a gentle knock.
They had met her once though. Maybe
that helped. Yeah. But yeah, it's nice to have a dog warning you when someone's there because, that's embarrassing if someone walks in on you.
Yeah.
Unless you're all super drunk, then it's probably not. But good observation. And good thing that you do that. All right. Sex position of the week. Jeff also doesn't know what this one is. It's called the Scoop Me Up. And honestly, it's like spooning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just laying on your sides. Girl in front, guy in back. Or
Girl in front, guy in back. Okay.
girl little spoon, guy big spoon.
Or we don't want to discriminate. Could be guy, girl,
Yes.
however. But just for our pictures, it's easier to demonstrate and to talk about us because we know what we do and what we like. So
yeah, I know. I was trying to think the other day. I'm like, how can I make this so I stop? Like, I don't want to offend people. I want them to know anyone can do it. It's just easier for me to be like guy, girl, so you know where the penis needs to be. And I'm like, whole stick. I'm like, hole in front, stick in back. But I'm like,
sounds like robots are doing it now.
I'm like, there's got to be a better way. If you guys have a suggestion, let me know. But that was one of my things. I'm like, how do we kindly say the person who's getting the insertion in the front, the person penetrating?
How do you know it's
in the back?
not anal?
That's.
Oh, you're saying in the front. When you said in the front, I was okay.
Oh, no. I mean, when you're doing the Scoop Me Up, you can do it anally. There's no reason it wouldn't work. Maybe
I'm sure there's probably some
it.
reasons it wouldn't work.
Maybe we should try that.
Okay.
All right, add that to our list. We'll see. We'll see if I'm up. Remember, I feel like I've mentioned this before. Anal is like a every other month kind of deal, maybe.
And it's usually your idea, though.
Yeah,
I think it's always your idea.
I think it is. I usually have a drink or two, too.
Yeah, you do.
Helps loosen me up a little bit. Okay. Well, everybody, remember everything we discussed is a try at your own risk, and we are not responsible for any injuries. Our podcast comes out every Wednesday morning. Social media, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Couples Sutra. And remember, that's couples with a K. Or you can email us at couplessutra@gmail.com. Please, guys, give us some emails. We would love to share your sex stories. If you have advice, we can share that as well for our advice column.
And on YouTube too. Yeah, just put your comments on there.
We're on YouTube now.
Comments.
It's just audio, but like and subscribe on there. Like and subscribe on whatever device you're, whatever app you're listening on. I know you can't do it on Spotify.
And however you want to talk to us too. Like, I want to hear about, like how we were talking earlier about, you were saying some people say you can be whole without someone else. Mm-hmm. And I want to see what other people think about that.
Yeah. So please write us in at couplessutra@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll talk to y'all next week.